Hi, my name's Trudy J. I'm an urban fantasy author. Welcome to my office. These are all my books on my shelf. This is me after a day of working all day in my office. My chair and everything's just over there. And I am here to share a little bit more about me and my writing and open up my office and my world to everyone out there who might be interested. I thought I might talk today about dragons. So I use dragons in two of my series. I love dragons. I grew up reading Anne McCaffrey and Dragons of Pern, best series ever. I love reading about dragons. My favourite book at the moment is Fourth Wing, I think, like most of the people in the world. So, nothing new there. But anyway, I wanted to talk because in my mind there's three different types of dragons, three main different types. And I'm not talking, Chinese dragon versus bog willow dragon or whatever, like the different types of dragon. I kind of mean in a story situation, the three different ways that dragons can be portrayed. So meaning point number one could be a dragon as an enemy. So a dragon is this horrifying monster or evil force that must be destroyed or controlled or whatever. And so, for example, King Arthur and his knights going off and fighting with the dragons and saving the damsel or whoever they're going to save. And another example of that is the Reign of Fire movies. It's a movie from a wee while ago, maybe the 90s, so it's a bit old. But I quite liked it. It was a story where dragons had somehow kind of lain dormant and came back, and then they overtook the world, and they were this evil force that kind of basically killed everyone in sight, and the humans kind of had to fight against them. So there's that. That's number one. Number two type of dragon is the dragons working alongside the humans. So they're more of a benign force or at least a cooperative force. They're willing to kind of work alongside people. And that's the Dragons of Pern and McCaffrey style. Fourth Wing is another one. I mean, the dragons, because they are quite big, monstrous beasts, essentially, usually, there's a power structure there. So there's often, especially Fourth Wing, I mean, there's one part in the thing where the acolytes or whatever you call them come through, and the dragons just flame the ones they don't like the look of, which is kind of horrifying, but that's the way it worked in that world. But they were still willing to work with the people, and that's kind of that cooperative scenario. So that's two. And then the third one I have is dragon shifters, so people who become dragons. And that is my book. In my Dragon Rising series, my main character is May, and she is a dragon shifter. So she becomes a dragon, and she has a human form and a dragon form, and she can shift at will. Those are my sort of three main. I think those are the three. I can't think of another scenario off the top of my head anyway, where, I mean, the only other one that comes to mind, sorry, this is a spoiler, so block your ears if you haven't watched the movie. There's a movie, Damsel, where it starts out that the dragon is portrayed as the evil force, evil beast that they have to kind of overcome, and then at the end it kind of changes. Not going to tell you too much about that because that will definitely spoil the movie, but and I guess so there's the opportunity of, like, it starts out as one and becomes another, although I don't know how you could start out as not a dragon shifter and become one unless you somehow got bitten like a vampire or something. Anyway, that could be a story. That's quite an interesting story. The idea you could be bitten and then become a dragon shifter. Might use that in one of my books. There you go. So why am I talking about this? I just wanted to kind of see which people like what are the most popular, and I have a personal preference, and I'm curious to see whether people have a similar preference, like whether you like the same kind of one or whether you prefer a different sort. So, and my preference might have been, I guess you'd think maybe I write dragon shifters, so they would be my favorite. But actually, if I'm being honest, I really, really like, first of all, Pern and Fourth Wing, the idea of the dragons as partners and as this amazing force that almost especially in Pern, and in Fourth Wing, the character, they're a chosen one, they're special, and they get chosen by the dragon as being special, and there's just something, that's just, that's amazing. I love that as a reader. That's, we all want to feel like that we want to feel like we're that special person who might get chosen by the dragons, and so we go along for that ride as those characters get chosen, and yeah, that's the awesomeness of that one. And why did I not write that one, something like that, and I wrote Dragon Shifters instead? I don't know. I mean, I like Dragon Shifters as well. I mean, that would be the point. I also love the idea of someone who can be two things, and you know, you're in one form and then suddenly you're this monstrous dragon. I mean, how cool would that be? I have, as I was writing those books, because you have to kind of think about dragons, like how it's going to work and how you're going to write about them, and I had to kind of create the whole surrounding sort of world and concepts around it when I was thinking about my dragons. And so it was kind of fun to, you know, how do they fly? What's it like to fly? How do they do things? How do you shift? How does a person shift into it? Is it a creaking of bones, is stretching of skin, or is it just a magical poof in the air? I mean, in my one, it's sort of it's a creaking in a transformation process that's kind of a little bit painful and a little bit, yeah, it's not just a magical puff and they suddenly become something new. I think you kind of have to work for your change. That's my mindset. You can't just do it easy, like a snap of your fingers. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, why dragons? Like, why do people love dragons so much? And I do think there's something of the idea of them being powerful, like this amazing, powerful beast. Also the flying. I think it's a powerful beast. They can fly and often a high level of intelligence. And I think that's why my least favourite is the dragons as the enemy and the evil force, because there's something about that says maybe they're not that smart and they're just a dumb beast to be destroyed. And I like to think, and my dragons that I like to read about are always the ones that are a little bit smarter and they've got something going on, and they're just this amazing beast that we get to love and be a part of and yeah, learn from. And in my book, there's the fear of dragons and my character has to kind of overcome that, and you know, all these kinds of things that shift in and around the storyline around dragons. So post in the comments if you've got any other thoughts on why people love dragons so much. I guess they're beautiful too. Like, there's a lot of artwork around dragons and what they look like and how they move. Do you know what? And someone pointed out to me, and I haven't looked into this in depth, but someone said to me the other day, dragons are in so many different cultures around the world that wouldn't have had connections to each other necessarily at that time. So there has to be some basis in some place that this belief in dragons came from. So maybe they're real. Maybe dragons are real. Maybe they're lying dormant somewhere under the ground, like in my books and in the Rain and Fire movies, and they're going to come back at some point. Dun, dun, dun. I don't know. Maybe it's possible, maybe it's not. But that's me, Trudy J, talking a little bit about dragons. I hope you enjoyed that. See you next time. Bye.